What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Ralphdatrader here, back with another video. Today's video, I want to discuss with you guys two trades that I took on the NAS100 last week, on April the 9th and on April the 11th. Share with you guys the things that I did with both of these trades, the good and the bad. All right, so let's get right into it. Like always, these videos that I drop, small disclaimer, they're only for educational purposes. I'm not here to give you any financial advice. All right. So let's get into it. Now, you guys already know, but I'm going to run through it one more time. Things that I have on my chart. All right. Previous day's high, which is identified as the yellow lines. Those are the previous day's high. Um, the 100 pip box is identified as these purple lines. So I only have the 0 and the 50. Okay. And then we also have the previous week's high and low, which is identified as this red line. Okay. So now, trade that I took that was on the 9th, April 9th, which was that Tuesday. Now, the reason behind me taking this trade was that on Monday closed as an inside day. As you can see, that price action closed inside of the previous day's high and the previous day's low, which is all the way down here. Okay, so that was the previous day's low. So we closed as an inside day. Okay, so that was the signal. That was a signal day. All right, to give me a reason to be looking at Nasdaq on that Tuesday. All right, now going into our New York session on the Nasdaq. All right, we can see that once Tuesday opened up, price was just accumulating within inside of this 25 pip box. You know what I mean by that? We can see that price is bouncing off of 0 and 50, 0 and 50. And then come pre-New York, you can see that price started to give us a nice push up to the upside. All right, and I'm on a 5-minute time frame. And so what I see, all right, once that New York session had done open up, what I've noticed is that price has started pushing up to the upside, triggered our previous day's high. All right, they triggered the previous day's high. And remember, there was no major red news out. Okay, so we had no major red news out. So as price pushed up, all right, with this nice 1, 2, I already had a little pause, 3, and then they gave us this in at 9:30 when the market opened up. So I had went in, took like an aggressive entry. All right, no big lot size, just an aggressive entry because I was anticipating on price to continue down with there being no major red news at 9:30. So I took an entry above the 0 and the previous day's high. All right. Price came down, as you can see, it wound up giving me some profit, but then on this next candle, I did get stopped out. All right. So, but wasn't too much shaking about that because I still had my thesis and everything was pretty much confirmed with me. Okay. So once this next candle printed, all right, so this was at 9:40. All right, then as you can see, once we broke out, then we got this next bearish candle. And then at 9:40, when price started to pull back down again, I took out an entry here, okay, right, pretty much in the same vicinity of where I took that first entry before I had got stopped out. And I took an entry here. And then once price broke the body of this bearish of that bullish candle right before the 75, I wound up taking another entry here. Now, I took entry here, okay? And I was anticipating on this thing to just go ahead and collapse, all right? Um, I wasn't expecting for price to start to go sideways. So they shook me out of this trade. All right. I got shaken out of this trade, man. And everything was confirmed because I was targeting, all right, I was targeting all the way down here, anyways. Okay. This was my target. All right. I was targeting all this move up here because all this volume here had done been trapped up here. Okay. So we had done trapped all this volume. And this was my target down here. So like I said, I took two entries here, and I took one entry here and one entry here. Then they wind up shaking out because it wasn't dropping like I was anticipating it to drop. So I got shaken out of that trade, and man, it would have been a great trade. You know, still some things that I'm working on with myself as well, but the entry, the thesis, and everything was good. All right, but they shook me out of a winning trade. You know, like I said, I'm still working on myself as well. So I got shaken out of that winning trade, but I still stuck with my thesis of this trade that it was going to collapse. So I closed out those two positions. The second one I closed out with like a little minor loss, and the other one I had some profit on that. All right, and then I just went back to work doing some things at work and came back to my office. And as I noticed that price was just um price was just still just holding here, and it failed to come back and put in a new high. So as you can see, we did have this little break of structure right down in here. So price put in a high, then it came back, and we put in a low, and then price came back up, put in a lower high. So once I noticed that, and I seen that we were starting to collapse once again. So I wasn't able to get in right at 75. I think I got in like about 74. So basically, we could say right around of 18 on 175. So I took an entry one more time here, and then I wrote it all the way down. Like I told you guys, I kind of knew where price was going to go, and I wound up catching 150 pips plus on this move. But it would have been great if I would have just stayed in up here, because that would have been a nice trade. But overall, there was, like I said, I'm still working on myself as well, with some things that I'm working on. And plus, just getting back used to using the 5 minute time frame, because I haven't used this 5 minute time frame since I first started trading back in the end of 2020. Okay, so but I wound up catching 100 over 150 points on the drop. All right, after getting in for a third time. All right, and that was it. Caught that nice drop, and that was it. Over 150 points on that one trade. All right. Now going into on the 11th is when I took another trade. The other trade that I took was on the 11th. Okay, so on the 11th, what I noticed here on the 11th, that we had this nice drop for some news that had them happen. All right, so we had this nice drop of news happening. Now coming into this trade, I had no previous day's high or previous day's low was triggered. So basically, I'm just looking at how price is performing inside of my 100 pip box. Okay, so I also just trade off the 100 pip box if no previous day's high or previous day's low um, was triggered. Okay, so we had none of that was triggered because I don't use opening range and initial balance. All right, so I don't really use that, but you did had we did have a initial balance low triggered, all right, on this day right here, because this would have been your initial balance low on this Tuesday. And you can see they did come down, trigger the initial balance low. But like I said, I don't use that. So I just use what I know. All right. And like I say, coming into this trade, and the reason behind me taking this trade is that on this what was this? I think this was that Thursday. You can see that when the session opened up, once again, price was just accumulating inside of this 25 pip box. And then you can see that we did have a breakout coming out 25 pips. All right, coming out 25 points outside of the 100 pip box. But we did have major red news out at 8:30. I think it was, yeah, like around 8:30 we had major red news. And you can see major red news gave us a big spike to the upside. All right. So now price has done closed above the 50. Okay. So normally when price is above the 50, I don't like shorting when price is, still just hanging around the 50 level. All right. I don't really like shorting the market there. And then you can see that we did have this break of structures because price started trending down. And then once the 8:30 news candle opened up, we broke out of the London session high. Now, you could have got a quick scalp. Okay, you wanted to wait until after 9:30 because we had the major red news out, so you wanted to wait until after 9:30. So here's your 9:35 candle. 9:30 was here, which really too much didn't do anything. Then the next candle, you um got a nice engulfing. So as price came back with a nice 1, 2, 3, then it came back with another engulfing. So you could have actually positioned yourself into this trade right above the zero level. But if you wanted to just wait until you had some confirmation, you had a nice 1, 2, 3 engulfing right off of the zero level. And you could have taken a short trade right here for about a 50 pip move. So I know that was more than like 50. So if you got in there, yeah, you had a 50 pip move down to the downside. But like I said, because we had this breaker structure, so I was waiting on a pullback, okay, waiting on price to give a nice little pullback and look for a continuation of a long trade. So, and I'm at work most of the time doing the New York session. Well, all the time I'm at work doing the New York session. All right. So I wind up not being able to get in this long position right here because the reason I would have taken this position is that you can see that we had a break of structure, price came back, gave a retest. And if sometimes I I use the fib tool, all right, and if you take it from the low, all right, to our high, you can see that price came right back and gave a retracement right at the 50 level. Okay. So sometimes I use that based off some knowledge that I had learned previous before finding SB. But majority of the time, my trades are based off of how SB trade and also just using what I already knew from in the past. All right. And so for this trade, once we had this break the structure, price came back and gave a retest. And like I said, the entry would have been right here, right up underneath double zero, because you can see we had equal lows giving us a tweezer bottom. I could have positioned myself into the market here. All right. But I wound up missing that trade and I wind up getting in like right around 65, 180, 65. And where was I targeting? I was targeting this news. All right. So my targets are usually I usually set a target for about 100 points. All right. So I was targeting that. And then so I got in right around this level, right around 180.65. I got in here, and you can see that price did come and hit 100 points for us. All right, so we did grab another 100 points off of that trade, right? Because that's where we was. I was targeting 100 points, but you can see this thing just took off and cleaned up that whole news candle. See, it came and cleaned up that whole news candle. We did have major red news out at 1 p.m. So those were the two trades that I took this week. I did take more trades, um, but I'm gonna do another video about how my personal count is really going. All right, and just to really be transparent with you guys and show you guys some things that I still need to work on myself as well. But those were the two trades that I took. All right, the two best trades that I took last week. All right, so I had a bunch of other trades too that I what I mean, that it wasn't really no good trades. All right. It's just what it is. All right. It is what it is. Like I say, I'm still just working on myself and working on some things as well. But for right now in this video, those were the two best trades that I took last week on the NASDAQ. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If it was helpful for you, all right, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. I really appreciate it. Like always, work hard, stay disciplined, and be patient, and know that your time will come. Peace and love. Have a good one.